Young for Korean American Story and Not Your Average. Tonight I'm sitting down with Sung Lee, beatboxer extraordinaire. Sung, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Convey.
How have you been?
I've been great, just doing my thing, making sounds with my mouth.
You've been performing a lot lately.
A little bit, here and there, yeah.
Here and there.
Getting the gigs, you know.
Do you do this full time?
Yeah, as of now I do, but a couple of years ago, you know, just like even as recent as 2 years ago, I wasn't able to do that.
Has it been since the Apollo Grand Champion 2014?
The Apollo was definitely a big one, also Collaboration New York and Collaboration Star. Those are both great platforms for like getting my name out there.
And was it after that you were able to do it full time?
Yeah, I'm not saying like I made it yet, but like I feel like I still have.
But the fact that you can be a beatboxer full time is kind of amazing. That's very impressive.
Thank you. But it's always for all musicians, it's always a struggle, you know, the climb.
Yeah.
And I'm just pushing forward.
But I would even say more so for beatboxers than musicians.
Oh yeah.
Like because how many beatboxers are, you know what I mean?
It's so unorthodox.
Grew up in Bergen County, and then what was that like?
Powell Park, Fort Leonia area is like very
super Korean,
super Asian. So like 30% of the student body in my school was Korean. So I hung out with all the Asians basically. I was one of the Asians.
So you didn't have any like I want to be white problems like
Not
adoption?
at all. Not even a little bit.
Okay.
I was just comfortable in that circle.
But then you went to Rutgers, right, for
Yeah.
school, majored in psychology in 2012.
Right.
I was a psychology major too.
Oh yeah.
But what did you want to do with that degree?
I went to college because like my parents made me go to college because they were Asian parents and they had certain expectations of me. And
did you already know you wanted to be a beatboxer?
I mean, I've always had that in the back of my mind, like somewhere there ingrained that I want to do the beatboxing, but it wasn't like serious. I was struggling to find myself, like what am I gonna do with my life? What career path do I choose? I kind of chose psychology like just as a cop-out kind of a thing. So yeah, I chose that and I was like, maybe I'll just graduate with a degree in psychology and then get my master's or something after that. But it didn't happen. Like when I graduated from college, I worked a job, a 9-to-5 job for about a year, and that's when I knew like no.
What was it? What was the 9-to-5?
It was I lived in Las Vegas for a year.
Really?
And I did some like administrative stuff there.
Okay.
For about like 10 months. And then I just realized, not that the job was that bad, but like I had this longing, this passion for the beatboxing, and that's when I decided to just move back to the East Coast and just pursue it full time.
When did the love for beatboxing start and how?
I saw a video when I was like 13 years old.
Which video do you remember?
It was some random like white dude. He wasn't even like, looking back on it, no offense to him, he wasn't that like amazing, but I was so impressed. Like I was floored by his skills back then. I just started to like pick it up, like, you know, looking at videos online, trying to learn it, just copying like these guys' sounds. Eventually just progressed, and 12 years later I ended up doing it as a career.
And like at what point did you think, I think maybe I can make this a career?
It was never like that. Like it was always a risk, like making that choice to pursue it. It was always a risk. Even like essentially like when I quit my job in Vegas and I moved back to the East Coast, I was like, I had to start from the bottom. Like I didn't know anything about the music industry. I didn't know how I was gonna make it. So what I did was I started to street perform. They call it busking in the streets or in the subways, and I did that for quite some time. And that really helped tremendously, like helped me develop my craft.
Here in the city, you did it?
Here in the city, yeah, like Union Square, you know, Times Square, those areas. Illegally too, mind you.
Yeah, all that is illegal. But it's one of the best parts of the city, though, honestly.
Yeah.
I think anytime I see performers, like on the subway or on the street, I always have so much respect for them because I think, like, the balls it takes to do that is, you know, pretty incredible.
And it's not easy, especially for the New York City crowd, because they could be tough sometimes.
Young money, omelette, 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 omelette.
But so, did you go home to your parents and were you
Yeah,
like,
I told
I
them.
want to be a beatboxer?
That's exactly what I
And
did.
what did
I
they?
mean, like,
What was their
they-
reaction?
Initially, they thought they were just very worried. Like, I mean, they understood that I had like a really big passion for it, but like, as far as a career choice and like being stable with it, they were really worried. But
Rightfully so. I mean,
Rightfully
honestly, like Sung performed at my kids' school, and so many kids were, you know, it was the first time they'd seen or heard of a beatboxer, and like with my kids, I try and expose them to everything, but honestly, sometimes the really creative stuff, I'm like a little bit nervous because afterwards, my son was so impressed by you. He's like, "I'm gonna be a beatboxer," and I was like,
oh, really?
"Okay." Yeah.
He should get lessons. I'll teach him.
Had they seen you beatbox before?
Yeah, they see me. Like, I mean, they were proud of me, like that I had this ability and like this passion for it. But I think they were just worried about making a stable living out of it. But you know, I put my foot down and I said I'm gonna do it, and they just kind of like let me do it. And then like I started doing well a little bit. Like I started like winning competitions here and there and like getting gigs and making some money out of it. And eventually, like my family's like now it's like completely different. They're completely supportive of it, which is awesome.
Yeah. You also recently performed at a prison, right, in California?
Right.
What was that like?
I did a couple of prisons actually. Did one in California, did a few in New York. I did Rikers Island too.
What was the first one in California
The
then?
first one was in California, and that was also kind of like a life-changing experience because a lot of them were like in there for violent crimes and like murder, and some of these guys were there for decades, like 20, 30 years. But like those are the guys that like when they stick around in prison for that long, like they actually change. I got to know them, I got to speak to them, and they were, to me, they sounded like honest, good people, genuine people. It was just great to like bring a little something that they don't usually experience in prison.
Were you nervous before that performance? Like more than other ones, or
No, I think
the
I
same?
think I'm good with the nerves now.
The picture that I saw from that performance is, I mean, it kind of brought tears to my eyes. It was,
Oh, really?
It's
Wow.
amazing. Like, it's
Wow.
with the inmates, like the prisoners were just so excited, and the joy, like
Right.
coming
I
from
mean, think
them.
about it, like
With you up there doing that was just amazing.
some of these guys probably never heard of beatboxing, and even if they did, it was back in like the 80s when it was really like rudimentary, you know, like it wasn't as advanced as it is now.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, there has to be, even like at the Apollo and, you know, in this prison, when you're in a crowd that's largely African American or Black or not Korean or not
Right.
Asian, there has to be this element of surprise.
Right, and
That-
I feel like I benefit from that a little bit.
I
feel
think,
like I
that
thrive
makes
off
sense.
of that.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But the element of surprise is that you're so legit that people are like, oh, well, you know, like what is going on? So, like in 2 decades, do you still want to be doing this? Is this the only thing you can see yourself?
I mean, kind of, yeah. But like, I don't know. I'm young now, so maybe my opinions will change over time. But like, and just thinking about it, it's just gonna be weird. Like, Korean ajushi beatboxing, you know? It's like not
Weird,
I don't
but
know.
could be cool though.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like Korean ajushis are gonna be totally different.
I might have to find
This
something else like on the
generation.
side.
But so do you ever have any moments where you are like sort of pinching yourself and being like, I cannot believe that I am making a living off of being a beatboxer? Does that ever happen to you or no?
Maybe a little bit, but for the most part, no, because like I set out to do this for my life, for a living, for the rest of my life. Like I have expectations, like these, like high standards actually, and like believe it or not, I'm not where I want to be yet. So like I still have so much more work to do to actually be at a point where I'm like satisfied. And I don't even know when that will come. Maybe it'll just keep growing and growing.
Son, can you give us a little beatbox?
Oh yeah,
The
of
outro?
course. All right. Not your average sung beat.
Here we go. Bring it back now. Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands